Hey everybody, Joe here with another review for Canada at the Movies. This time I'm doing something a little bit different. I typically don't do spoilery reviews or anything like that, but I'm trying to do something a little different. Basically going episode by episode of Candy. Candy is a Hulu original that is based off of real life murder. And so obviously this is a drama, it's a dramatic rendition of what happened in Texas in the 1980s. And it's starring Jessica Biel, who plays Candy Montgomery, Melanie Lynskey, who plays Betty Gore, Pablo Schreiber, who plays Alan Gore, and Timothy Simmons, who plays Pat Montgomery. Now, if you don't want, before I get into the spoiler part of it, I think that it was beautifully shot. As far as there are a lot of different shots that show different portions of what you should be paying attention to. So in this particular case, it's one of those situations where you want to kind of note everything that they are pointing out on film because nothing is for no reason. I ultimately think this first episode, the first episode, by the way, was called Friday the 13th. This first episode was full of intrigue, and it left me wondering, it left me guessing. So, couldn't wait to get to episode 2, but I had to record this first before I went over to episode 2 because I didn't want to spoil myself. But yes, so I'm about to go into spoilers in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start. So we start off with Candy in the beginning telling a story to her husband about a tree that would one day grow up just to be chopped down and become part of Jesus's cross. And the moral of that story was that just because you don't get what you want every time doesn't mean that God doesn't have anything greater for you. Because basically, every time we look at that cross, now we think about God. And that was a very awkward story to start off with. But Jessica Biel nailed it. She did a wonderful job with her accent, telling the story with a smile. And then the music in the background was kind of awkward and eerie. And she was telling that story to her husband named Pat. And so Pat, clapped for her, say, the kids are going to love that. And the thing that's interesting is that they started off basically, how like sometimes they'll put times down and things like that. They put the night before. And the night before means that it was the night before Candy decided to kill Betty. Now, that's not really a spoiler because this is based off of those things that happened. So now moving forward, they move over to church where Candy is telling that same story to the children. So I'm thinking that apparently she is some sort of youth leader or youth minister at her church. And, the kids really give her a round of applause for that. And we can move over to Betty's side of the story now, where Betty's husband, Alan, is, for work, he has to travel. And Betty, for some reason, doesn't want him to go. Keeps saying things like, I hate it when you leave. I don't want you to go. And she seems kind of paranoid and whatnot. And Alan, was like, don't worry about it. You'll have, the kids here. You'll have Candy, and Candy's going to come by and check on you all. And Betty has a newborn baby that is, crying, basically dependent on her for everything. So apparently Betty's the type of person that doesn't leave the house anymore. Don't know why that happened. What happened, but apparently she was a teacher before and she's afraid that she's pregnant. Alan is telling her, stop worrying about it, take your other pill, you'll be fine. I it's really above me as to what's going on right now. I don't know what's happening as to the reason why she's feeling the way that she's feeling. But um, fast forward, I'm not going to go into every facet of the story. Candy is, uh, you know, she has Betty's daughter coming, that's staying over with her right now to do a sleepover. And so Candy's like, "You want to stay over one more night? You know, we can all go and watch the new Star Wars film together." Um, and so she decides, "Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that." But Candy has to go to Betty's house to go pick up um, her swimsuit. So fast forward, um, Betty and Candy meet at Betty's house. Candy comes in. Next thing you know, you cut to another shot where Candy is all disheveled, hair's wet, doesn't have her glasses on, um, has a huge gash on her head, another gash on one of her toes on her feet, and I'm left wondering what's happening. So um, she runs back into her own house. Candy has driven back from her own house and has gotten into the shower. And I don't know whether or not she showered at Betty's house or at Candy's house, but she was all wet and all disheveled. So um, she runs in her own home at this point. She runs down with all of her clothes in her hand while she's in the nude to wash all of her clothes. Um, she makes it back to the church, but wears something completely different from what she usually wears. Apparently, somebody said that she wore some terrible shower shoes or something like that, and she didn't have those on, and that she really liked her sneakers. Um, so at this point, Alan has made it to his destination and is worried about his wife because Betty always picks up the phone whenever he calls, always. So it was basically like hours on hours that she had been displaying erratic behavior, not picking up the phone. So Alan calls a neighbor to check on Betty. At first, he's really apprehensive about it, but he goes over and then apparently he calls other neighbors to also go and check as well. Um, so I'm thinking that something is going on between Alan and Betty because he calls Betty, and while the neighbors are checking the house, uh, the they find that the baby is there and is quiet and silent. Like that baby was crying so loud before, but now not making a peep. And the baby is has apparently a really dirty diaper, poop everywhere. One of the neighbors runs home to his wife with the baby in hand and says, "Take care of the baby, call the police and send them over to the Gore's house." Doesn't explain what happens, runs right back. And then they find Betty's body in one of the back rooms, but they don't inspect it. So, because they were so shaken up by the situation, it was really creepy for them to find her body that way. So, they call Alan and tell Alan that it doesn't look good and that Betty has been shot. Um, and so, apparently, they didn't inspect the body because when Alan calls Candy, and we all know Candy did it. So when he calls Candy, he says that that Betty's been shot, and that Candy has like a look of relief over her face and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm here for you," and all that crap. But at the very end of the episode, what they end up doing is taking a shot and going down, basically down to where Betty's body is, and showing that there was an axe. So apparently she died by being murdered by an axe. So I'm really interested in seeing what happens next, but that's as far as I've gotten so far. So if you all like this style of talking about what happened, a bit more spoilers and whatnot, let me know down in the comments below. Again, I've been Joe. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Take care. Bye.